Hello. So let's look at the decorators in Python, and these decorators are kind of an advanced concept in Python. So let's, without wasting time, let's look at the decorators. First, what is the definition of a decorator? So the decorators add more functionalities to the existing functions. So before we understand how the decorators work, we should have understanding regarding how the function work in general. So there are three ways in which functions work in Python. So let's look at the most basic type. Okay, so this is simple, basic. Here we can provide some args if we want, but we're just not providing args, right? And we can print something like this is a basic function, right? And we call a basic function. Right, this is the basic function. This is how the basic functions work in Python. Let's look at the second type. Right, the second type is provide function as an argument. Right, so here we will pass argument as a function. So let me show you what I'm trying to say is call basic function. Right, so now I'm going to use this, and let's run this function again, file again. So you can see that this function is called, but this is not called directly. This is called by this function, call basic, and this function is an argument. So the function as a whole, this whole function, we passed as an argument to the another function. So this is the second way we can use functions in a Python. So we need to understand that this basic is used without any parenthesis. This has no parenthesis, so that is why it is passed as a function. And this call basic is used with a parenthesis. That is why it is being called. So this is minor thing, and I think you already know about this. So what is the third way? The third is use functions inside a function. Right? So let's make something great. Make something understandable. Here we have called a wrapper. Now inside this wrapper we will write another function. This is an inner function, right? Here we are going to call inner. So let's comment this. Now call wrapper. And you can see that this function is called, this inner function is called. So now what happens if we just call this inner directly without the wrapper? Let's see that, alright? And it will throw an error because this inner function is not accessible outside this wrapper. So this inner is local to this wrapper only. And when the wrapper is initialized or called, then only this inner is used or initialized. Without this wrapper, the inner doesn't exist. So these are the three ways in which we normally use functions in Python. So now that you know how what are the basic ways we call functions, let's look at the decorators. But before that, let's again look at the definition of a wrapper or decorators. So decorators are functions that add functionalities to another function. So for that, we need to use two functions. First, the decorators are the function itself, and it adds functionality to another function. So naturally, decorators take function as an argument because otherwise they would not be able to add functionality to the existing function. F decorator. Here we will take function as an argument because this is what we are trying to change or modify. Here we will add wrapper, right? Here we will do add some decoration. Cool. And now call the function add some more decoration. All right. And return wrapper. So this is just a simple way of writing a. This is a simple syntax of a decorator. Let me comment this out and we can start writing again. Alright. First, we should write our basic function. So def we should add greeting, right? And here we are just printing some values. How how are you? Alright. Now let's add decorator. Decorator. Alright. Here it takes function as an argument. So function. Now we have to define a wrapper. So we write def wrapper. So you can use any name. Okay, I'm just using wrapper because it's easy for me to remember. You can use inner or whatever name that you prefer. There's no hard and fast rule against it. All right. So now we will add some functionality over here. That is, we will add some decoration. 5. Then we will call greeting. We will again print something. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. Into return wrapper. All right. Now let's use this decorator, this whole decorator. So first, I'm going to use great. So you can use any name. I'm just using great. And what do we want to do? We want to decorate this greeting. So first we call the decorator. Now what does the decorator take as an input? This greeting. So we write greeting without the parentheses. Okay, we don't use this over here. We don't do that. All right. So now what does this grad contain? So let's print the grad. Just see what the value of the grad is. All right. Execute the function. So the grad contains this wrapper function because it is very easy because the decorator re returned the wrapper. So the grad contains this whole wrapper function. So now just let's call grad. Let's call grad this way. And you can see that we have added this decoration to the function, to this simple greeting. So without the decorators, this is just a greeting. It's a simple thing. But with the help of decorators, we have added some functionality to the existing function. That is how the decorators work. Now, let me uncomment this again. Hmm. So, I understand, right, how to write the most basic decorator function. But there is one more thing that you should look at. This whole syntax, this two or three lines, this is not a good way to write. I mean, this is a good way to write, but there is one more simplistic way. I mean, that is easy to remember, and it makes your code look more easy to read also. So what you have to do is use the @ symbol. Now follow the name of the decorator function that you want to use. Decorator in our case. So what is going to happen after we add this thing? Okay. So whenever we call greeting, first it will call the decorator, and it will take greeting as a function in itself. So let's try to do it. And you can see what happened. Okay, so did you get the error? I mean, I made a whole made a big mistake that I think nobody understood. So instead of greeting, I have to use function. All right, I cannot use anything else, just a function. Let me call this again. All right. So I made a mistake in the first when I was explaining you the basic example of a decorator, but now I corrected it. So this is the syntax. We have to use this function, this name, and this name should be similar. And in our case, it is similar. This and this are similar. Alright. Now you have understood how to write a simple decorator and how to use the @ symbol for the decoration. Okay, and let me comment this again so I can explain you in a fresh, again, a whole new way. Alright. So F decorator. It takes function as an input because that is what the decorator is supposed to do. Now here def wrapper. Now here we have to write something. So we are just adding some decoration. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into 5. Right. This is just simple. Now we are going to use the function. Alright, this is I'm writing the again the basic function, the basic syntax for the decoration. Now we're going to A and B, and we will write A plus B. Alright. Now we want to decorate this add. Alright. And add accepts two parameters A and B. But here we have not given any arguments to A and B. So how it is going to work, you might ask. And let me add the decorator here so it's easy to call. So what we can do is we can provide the arguments to the variable itself. So here we can use args. So if you don't want to use the star args, you can use a or b. But I think the star args is a good way to use. So args. All right. Now let's call it. Let's call add 10, 20. Call the function again. And as you can see that we have used used parameters for the decorator, and we can always use this thing. Now you might ask how to return value, because this is not returning any value. So if I print add, let's see what is going to happen if I print this one. Alright, so it returns no, none. So what if I want to return something? I don't want A and B to print just like this. I want to add. So what can I do? So in here we are going to make some changes. So the basic thing we can do is basic function, and we return something. Return A, B. Alright, here what we're going to do is this function will accept the value, right? Because we are calling this add from here. So whatever we return here is going to be returned here. So here we can use something called as value. Alright, now we will return something, and we will return what we will return here. That is the main function, that is the main value. What is the value? Let's try to see this value. Alright, because the wrapper returns this value, whatever that is returned from the function. That is what the wrapper returns. Alright, now let's see this. So what do you think the output will be in our case? And here we have to change. It is going to be okay. So what will be our output in this case? It is going to be 30. Alright. So there are things that didn't work according to the expectation, according to our expectation. The first is we have to use wrapper, and here it is okay. Alright. So now you understood, right? What happened? Um, so let me explain it to you. This decorator returns the wrapper, this inner function. Alright? And this wrapper returns what? Returns this function. Whatever this function returns, it returns that only. So in our case, this function is pointing to add. So add is returning the addition of a and b. So here value contains the addition of 10 and 20 in this case. Then it will return this value. This value is received by the print. So the order of execution is first this is executed, then the value is returned over here, then again this is executed, and the value is returned over here. That is why we can see that 10 and 20 is returned. Do you understand now? I mean, it is. If you don't write it down in the comment, and I will try in a better way to explain it to you again. Let me first comment this out. All right. Now first, let's create a basic function, right? And let's not use what arguments this time, because I'm just trying to show you an example of the what is chaining of decorators. Chaining of decorators. All right. So this is the basic function, and function, and this is what it does. Hello, how are you? All right. Now let's write the decorators. Def decorator one, because in this case we are using going to use more decorators. That is why I'm writing decorator 1. All right, and here I'm going to pass function because decorators modify the function, and that is why they receive function as an argument. Now def wrapper, and here we need a function and arguments? No, because def basic does not need an argument, so we should not provide any arguments here. Right, right? This is 5 times into 5, right? Then function, then print is again into 3 4 5 into 5, right? Return wrapper. So till now this is simple, right? And here I just have to write this decorator form. This is simple. Let's see what this prints. We already know what it is going to print, but let's look at this again as expected, because first this is executed, then this function is executed, and this function is basic, so this is executed, and then this is executed. This is clear. Now let's write a new decorator. Alright, name this as decorator 2, and instead of this multiplication symbol, let's use minus symbol, right? Alright, and here let's write this. So what do you think is going to be the output of this thing, this whole if I execute this basic, what do you think will be the output? Can you guess? Let's try this. So this what you expected? And if not, do not worry, because I'll explain to you how this whole is working. Alright, so this is nothing but something like this. Alright, decorator 2 is taking the input of decorator 1 and tip screen. Alright, so this basic is just the short form of this. Alright, and now let me explain to how it is working first. But this is the short form and this is the long form. If we have not used this decorator property, we could have used this and received the same output again. Let me explain to what is happening. Alright, just comment it out. So it will be helpful for you to understand uh, how how we could have achieved this without the decorators. Okay, so to understand this, first we are calling the decorator 2. So decorator 2 is being called, and what is the function? And it receives a function. So the function is in this case it is decorator 1. So we pass decorator 1 to the decorator 2. So that is why first this line is printed. This line is printed because the decorator 2 is called. Now the function is called. This function is called. So what is the function here this time? This time the decorator 1 is the function. So that is why from here the control is transferred to here. Alright. So for decorator 1, what is the function? So for decorator 1, basic is the function. And that is why after it gets the control over here, it prints the first 5. I mean this line. Then it calls this function. Alright, in function is what? This basic. So this hello how are you is called. Alright, this is called. And then this is called, after this is complete, the decorator one completes its execution, the control passes to here. So this is complete, the decorator one is complete, and here the decorator 2 is complete. You understand how it worked? I mean, if not, then you should try it out on your own machine, and if you do, I'm sure you will get the whole idea regarding the chaining of the decorators. Let's import something called as this import time, right? That's input time. And we can also, okay, I'm not commenting this out, but we have to import time, right? Because the thing that I'm going to show you is def time taken decorator. All right. Decorator receives function as an input, as an argument. Def wrapper, and what is the thing? Okay, here we take one argument args, right? Here we first take st is equal to time dot time. So st is start time, right? Start time. Let's print some basic decorations, right? To 5. We will call this function over here 5 and 5. Here we will do et, that is end time, this time dot time, and here at the end we will print total time taken to execute is here et minus st. All right, time wrapper. Okay, so what this decorator is going to do is, first it will note down the time, the start time when the function is executed, and it will print and it will do what it's supposed to do. Then it will again take the time, and at the end it will show you how much time it has taken to execute the whole function. Okay, now let's write the basic function. So we are going to uh, basic function. Okay, and it receives n as an input, and what it does is it iterates for I in range of n, print I time dot sleep 0.5. All right, and use this decorator symbol here. It's time taken to decorate basic function. All right, and here we have to pass the argument because this receives an argument, and here we have also used the argument. So do not forget to use argument. And let's see what happens if you don't use the argument. It will still call this n, so right, because it requires the n. So pass the argument, otherwise you will have this error. So let's provide 10 and see what happens. Okay, we are missing something. Okay, so we have not provided the argument over here. So, all right, see what happens. Okay, so the total time taken. So we can see how a decorator is useful here. In this time, we created a simple decorator to see how long does a function takes to complete. This is a very simple example, but it's very useful. It is very useful. So I think you understand how the decorators work now. And if you still have any more doubts regarding the decorators and how it is used, if you have any more doubts, write it down in the comment section. I will help you get through that. And if you have made through this far, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with your friends. Because it means a lot to me. And thank you, and have a nice day.